The Passion Play or Easter pageant is a dramatic presentation depicting the Passion of Jesus Christ, his trial, suffering and death. It is a traditional part of Lent in several Christian denominations, particularly in Catholic tradition. Origin and history of the Passion Play. The Easter play precedent. The development of the Passion Play was about the same as that of the Easter drama. It originated in the ritual of the Church, which prescribes, among other things, that the Gospel on Good Friday should be sung in parts divided among various persons. Later on, the Passion Play made its appearance, first in Latin, then in vernacular languages. Contents and forms were adapted more and more to audience expectations, until, in the 15th century, the popular religious plays had developed. Thus, the Benedict Byrne Passion Play is still largely composed of Latin ritual sentences in prose and of church hymns, and, being designed to be sung, resembles an oratorio. The addition of more music and more characters. Yet even this oldest of the Passion Plays already shows a tendency to break away from the ritual and to adopt a more dramatic form. This evolution is shown by the interpolation of free translations of church hymns and of German verses not pertaining to such hymns, as well as by the appearance of Mary and Mary Magdalene in the action. For these humble beginnings the Passion Play developed very rapidly, since in the 14th century it was at a stage of development which could not have been reached except by repeated practice. For this second period we have the Vienna Passion, the St. Gall Passion, the oldest Frankfurt Passion, and the Maastricht Passion. All four plays, as they are commonly called, are written in rhyme, principally in German. The Passion Play continues to expand. The Vienna Passion embraces the entire history of the Redemption, and begins with the revolt and fall of Lucifer. The play, as transmitted to us, ends with Jesus and his 12 apostles sitting at the Last Supper. The oldest Frankfurt Passion Play, that of Cannibal de Marvin-Petuel, the production of which required 2 days, was more profusely elaborated than the other Passion Plays of this period. Of this play only the Ordo Sive Registrum has come down to us, a long roll of parchment for the use of the director, containing stage directions and the first words of the dialogues. The plays based on this list of directions lead us to the period in which the Passion Play reached its highest development. During this period the later Frankfurt Passion Play, the Alsfelder, and the Friedberger originated. Connected with this group are the Eger, the Donaueschingen and Augsburg, Freising and Lucerne Passion Plays, in which the whole world drama, beginning with the creation of man and brought down to the coming of the Holy Ghost, is exhibited, and which was produced with great splendor as late as 1583. The Tyrolese Passion Play, expansion and consolidation of previous plays. Nearly all these Passion Plays have some relation to those coming from the Tyrol, some contributing to others taking from that source. These, again, are founded upon the Tyrolese Passion Play, which originated during the transition period of the 14th to the 15th century. Historian J. E. Wackenhall, with the aid of the plays that have reached us, has reconstructed this period. In Tyrol the Passion Plays received elaborate cultivation. At Bolzano they were presented with great splendor and, in 1514, lasted no less than 7 days. Here, too, the innovation of placing the female roles in the hands of women was introduced, which innovation did not become general until during the 17th century. Elaborate public productions. The magnificent productions of the Passion Plays during the 15th century are closely connected with the growth and increasing self-confidence of the cities, which found its expression in noble buildings, ecclesiastical and municipal, and in gorgeous public festivals. The artistic sense and the love of art of the citizens had, in cooperation with the clergy, called these plays into being, and the wealth of the citizens citizens provided for magnificent productions of them on the public squares, whither they migrated after expulsion from the churches. The citizens and civil authorities considered it a point of honor to render the production as rich and diversified as possible. Ordinarily, the preparations for the play were in the hands of a spiritual brotherhood, the play itself being considered a form of worship. People of the most varied classes took part in the production, and frequently the number of actors was as high as 200 and even greater. It was undoubtedly no small task to drill the performers, particularly since the stage arrangements were still very primitive. Staging and set design. The stage was a wooden structure, almost as broad as it was long, elevated but slightly above the ground and open on all sides. A house formed the background. A balcony attached to the house represented heaven. Under the balcony 3 crosses were erected. Sometimes the stage was divided into 3 sections by doors. Along the sides of the stage, taken lengthwise, stood the houses required for the production. They were indicated by fenced-in spaces, or by 4 posts upon which a roof rested. The entrance into hell was pictured by the mouth of a monster, through which the devil and the souls captured are released. During the play's passed back and forth, the actors entered in solemn procession, led by musicians or by a precursor, and took their stand at the places appointed them. They remained on the stage all through the performance. They sat on the barriers of the respective divisions, and were permitted to leave the places only to recite their lines. As each actor finished speaking, he returned to his place. The audience stood around the stage and looked on from the windows of neighboring houses. Occasionally platforms, called bridges, were erected around the stage in the form of an amphitheater. Simplicity of scenery, dialogue, action, and costumes. The scenery was the background of old-time Middle East. There were no side scenes, and consequently no stage perspective. Since an illusion of reality could not be had, indications were made to suffice. Thus a cask standing on end represents the mountain on which Christ is tempted by the devil. Thunder is imitated by the report of a gun, in order to signify that the devil had entered into him. Judas holds a bird of black plumage before his mouth and makes it flutter. The suicide of Judas is an execution, in which Beelzebub performs the hangman's duty. He precedes the culprit up the ladder and draws Judy after him by a rope. Judas has a black bird and the intestines of an animal concealed in the front of his clothing, and when Satan tears open the garment, the bird flies away, and the intestines fall out. Whereupon Judas and his executioner slide down into hell on a rope. A painted picture representing the soul is hung from the mouth of each of the 2 thieves on the cross. An angel takes the soul of the penitent, the devil that of the impenitent thief. Everything is presented in the concrete, just as the imagination of the audience pictures it, and the scenic conditions, resembling those of the antique theatre, demand. All costume, however, is contemporary, historical accuracy being ignored. Secularization of the Passion Play. The Passion Plays of the 15th century, with the peculiar blending of religious, artistic, and increasingly secular elements, gave a true picture of German city life of those times. Serious thought and lively humor were highly developed in these plays. When, however, the patricians, in the 16th century, withdrew more and more from the plays left to the lower classes began to lose the serious and dignified character. The influence of the carnival plays was felt more and more. Master Grobianus, with his coarse and obscene jests, was even introduced into some of the Passion plays. In time the ecclesiastical authorities forbade the production of these secularized plays. Thus, the Bishop of Heidelberg commanded his clergy, in 1471, to suppress the Passion plays and legend plays in the parish districts because of the disgraceful and irrelevant farces interspersed through the productions. Secularized Passion Plays ban. With the advent of the 16th-century European religious conflict, the uneasiness with liturgical drama in general increased. The Synod of Strasbourg of 1549 opposed the religious plays, and the year previous, in 1548, the Parliament of Paris forbade the production of the mysteries of the Passion of our Redeemer and other spiritual mysteries. One consequence was that the secularized plays were separated from the religious, and, as carnival plays held the public favor, the Passion plays came to be presented more rarely, particularly as the Reformation was inimical to them. Rediscovery of the Passion play. The Passion play almost disappears. School dramas now came into vogue in Catholic and Protestant schools, and frequently enough became the battleground of religious controversies. When, in the 17th century, the splendidly equipped Jesuit drama arose, the Passion plays were relegated to out-of-the-way villages and to the monasteries, particularly in Bavaria and Austria. Towards the end of the 18th century, during the Age of Enlightenment, efforts were made in Catholic Germany, particularly in Bavaria and the Tyrol, to destroy even the remnants of the tradition of medieval plays. A resurgence of public interest. Public interest in the Passion play developed in the last decades of the 19th century, and the statistician Karl Pearson wrote a book about them. Since then, Brixlag and Voda-the-Azay in Tyrol and Horace na Sumave near Český Krumlov in the Czech Republic, and above all, the Oberammergau in Upper Bavaria attract thousands to the plays. The text of the play of Voda-the-Azay dates from the second half of the 17th century, is entirely in verse, and comprises in 5 acts the events recorded in the Gospel, from the Last Supper to the Entombment. A prelude on the Good Shepherd precedes the play. After being repeatedly remodeled, the text received its present classical form from the Austrian Benedictine P. Weissenhofer productions of the play, which came from Bavaria to the Tyrol in the second half of the 18th century, were arranged at irregular intervals during the first half of the 19th century. Since 1855, they have taken place at regular intervals at Brixlag every 10 years. The Horitz Passion play, the present text of which is from the pen of Provost Landsteiner, has been produced every 5 years since 1893.